Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are going over 5 more ships that I regret buying. But Sealord, you're a CC and get all these ships for free, don't you? No, I am not a CC. I do not get anything that's featured on this channel for free as far as World of Warships goes. It's all purchased with ad revenue that the channel does generate. But then, Sea Lord, you might be saying, you're still not really paying for these ships, right? And you'd be correct. However, we're going from the point of view of if I did pay for these ships from cashola that I earned from my very, very time-consuming job, I would most definitely have regrets about them. And in fact, one ship on this list I did buy before I started doing the whole YouTube thing, so there you go. Now today's video is brought to you by yesterday's video. Yesterday, our Yorktown visit did go up on the channel, so if you have an interest in real steel ships, you should check out that video. We went on a little road trip up and down the Carolinas, visiting the North Carolina, the Laffey, and the Yorktown in that order, so you can check those guys out. I'll put a link to those all in the description down below. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. Coming in at number 5 is the Tier 7 Premium American battleship, the California. Now the California is, well, her whole problem is that Tier 7 is just miserable for a ship like her. She's big, fat, slow. She does have 12 14-inch guns, which by Tier 7 standards is pretty darn good, but the reload time's painfully long, and again, the ship only goes 20 knots, and it's a big, huge target. What normally happens with the California is that you get farmed down so easily by a lot of the ships that you can see, because you can see Tier 9 games in the California, and you often do. And because, of course, the ships of Tier 9 and their armor, particularly the battleships, you've wind up, for some reason, having to spam HE, which with the ship's reload time is just, nah. Not to mention that a tier lower, in much favorable matchmaking, you have a ship that does pretty much exactly the same thing that the California does, but in much more comfortable matchmaking spread, and that is the Arizona at Tier 6. It's cheaper than the California, has the same firepower as the California, and gets much better matchmaking than the California. So, yeah, if I did have to buy this ship outright, I would be most sad that I did. Now, to the California's credit, there was announced, as we discussed a few days ago, a plethora of changes coming to tech line and premium ships alike, and one of those is that the California is getting a reload boost, and it's also getting a boost to its acceleration. It's getting a buff to its reload time, so it's going to have, I think, a 33 or 32 second reload time now, and it's going to get the same acceleration, deceleration portfolio that the Vermont does. So it's going to take off faster, it's going to stop faster, be a little bit more maneuverable. Will that be enough to save it? Probably not, because still only going 20 knots at Tier 7 is just pain. I mean, it's not exactly the Doom Turtle that I wanted the California to be. I want it to be like the West Virginia 44, where it's got, a bunch of secondaries on it, those modernized secondaries that are accurate and have a high rate of fire. That way, you can kind of walk up to DDs and light cruisers and shred them. But no, they went with this, mid to long range sniper that's very slow, and you have to be thinking like 7 steps ahead of the enemy team. And just with the way a lot of higher tier games go, you just wind up getting left behind and getting farmed down. So very miserable ship to play, and one that I would not recommend at all. So going on down to to number 4, we have the Tier 8 Premium German Cruiser, the Prinz Eugen. Stop typing. I know what you're typing in the comments already. Hear me out. The Prinz Eugen is that ship that I mentioned that I bought before I started doing the whole YouTube thing. So the Prinz Eugen was, I believe, the 3rd ship that I purchased in this game, the 3rd premium ship. The first was the Texas, the second was the Tirpitz, and then was the Prinz Eugen. So what happened was, I got up to the New Mexico, California, and the American battleship tech line, and well, that's where the grind starts to be, well, the grind, right? So I was getting a little frustrated with my progress, and I was like, I want to kind of, get to higher tier, right? So I bought the Tirpitz. I bought the Texas. Like, it was like the second thing I did after I downloaded the game because I'd been to the Texas so much in real life. But anyway, I bought the Tirpitz, played a little bit in it, and I thought, wow, this sucks. I'm just getting farmed down by all these cruisers, and for some reason my guns aren't landing their shots at range. That's very weird, right? So I stopped playing the Tirpitz. About a week later, bought the Prinz Eugen because, well, if I'm being farmed down by cruisers so much, surely, these cruisers is where it's at. And I bought the Prinz Eugen, and I realized, that whole HE spammy thing isn't really working out for some reason. What's with this German HE? Why isn't it that good? Why am I not burning down ships like I was being burned down when I was trying to play the Tirpitz up here, right? Little did I know that, German HE is anemic, and HE spamming isn't really Prinz Eugen's thing. It's got great AP that you should probably use sometimes, Sealord of 5-6 years ago, right? And, yes, it is the Prinz Eugen, a hyper-class cruiser that you've heard so much about on the History Channel, how tough it was, but my god, does it have some weird geometry in game that leads to it, losing half of its HP in a single salvo from a slightly angry battleship. And yes, it does have a heal, but, again, when you get citadeled by an angry battleship, there's only so much that does for you, right? So, yeah, I regretted buying it because I didn't have any idea of how to play it. And this is just another cautionary tale for you newer players out there. Stick with what you're grinding, or, grind 2 lines at the same time. Don't go buying higher tier ships because you will regret it. You will wind up wasting, back in the day that, tier 8s were like $48, $47, $46. Today they're like, what, $50, $52? Not that bad of inflation given other rates, right? But you will wind up just wasting that money, and it's going to take months before you can play that ship properly, which is what happened to Prinz Eugen. I docked it for a very long time, and I still don't think my stats have exactly, recovered in the Prinz Eugen as of yet. It wasn't until I actually grinded up the German cruiser line that I think I actually touched the thing again. So, yeah, I did regret buying it, of course, to, obviously learn how to play it. It is, of course, a great premium. One that I would actually recommend you pick up if you're into German cruisers. So going on down to number 3 now, we have the Tier 8 premium French battleship, the Picardie. Man, the Picardie. This ship is included in the top 5 worst ships of 2023 video. And, of course, it's here as well. Because if I did buy this with money that I earned at my IRL job, man, I would be upset. Picardie's just bad. I really don't know why they messed with the formula they had going on here with these premium French battleships, because there's literally a whole, essentially, second tech line of French battleships from tier 7 to tier 10. We have the Strasbourg, the Picardie, the Jean Bart, and the Bourgogne. And these battleships are up-tiered tech line battleships with slightly better reload time, slightly better gun accuracy, and a reload booster. And then like an engine boost from tier 9 on up. That's the formula they had. It worked pretty darn well, with the only kind of upset being the Strasbourg, which is the sister ship to the Dunkirk. But then we get the Picardie, which is just another absolute disappointment. Because it's a Leon, that's the cat. It's a Leon with smaller guns than the Leon at tier 8 with a reload booster. That's all they did. They shrunk the guns for some reason, which, don't get me wrong, the Leon's guns are good, but like they're not that big by tier 7 standards. So you can imagine when you up tier it to tier 8, it's not going to do that good when you shrink the guns. So what you wind up doing with the Picardie is you just HE spam, and you hope someone goes broadside so you can load your AP and then, dump the reload booster in them. You get a couple quick salvos to the broadside. Because, yeah, that is going to hurt no matter what, right? Like, I don't care who you are. 16 guns of a slightly large caliber is going to be, well, a pretty bad event for you, right? And let alone when you can get 2 follow-up salvos quite quickly after that first initial salvo. So yeah, I can kind of get the idea, but why shrink the guns? Really? Like, I mean, Leon hardly had much overmatch at tier 7, and when you do that to the ship then up tier to tier 8, you don't really have much overmatch at all. So unless someone's selling perfectly flat broadside to you, you're going to want to HE spam, which is a pretty boring way to play in my opinion. So yeah, like I said in my initial Picardie review, I was disappointed twice that week by French-focused thematic events, if you will. One with the Napoleon movie, and then again with the Picardie. So yeah, a ship I would not recommend you spend your hard-earned money on, because it will, well, disappoint you. Going on down now to number 2, we have the Tier 9 American destroyer, the Halford. Now, the Halford did actually just finally come back into the premium shop and the armory after being gone for, 5-6 months? But do not buy this ship. My god, this ship is just... I don't know how they thought they could get destroyer play and CV gameplay together in a package that would even mildly work, because, like, I can't think of two more opposite gameplay styles than DD versus CV. Because CV's, your ship's in the back, you're flying your planes, your ship's not in too much danger. You don't really have to pay too much attention to where your ship is at, as long as it's, toward the rear of the pack and moving away from the enemy team if they push. Destroyers, you have to be constantly cognizant about, your surroundings. Where are these torpedoes coming from? Is there another DD in the cap with me? Where's the enemy CV planes at? Oh, where's the submarine at? Because his ping just went by. You have so much to do in a destroyer, and so little HP, and so little, there's so little room for error when it comes to DD gameplay, right? And they go ahead and strap planes to this DD. To where if you want to use the planes, because you have to manually fly the planes, you have to either put your ship on autopilot in the middle of the pack, or pop a smoke screen or hide behind an island and use your aircraft. You're giving up a whole rack of torpedoes in order to have this catapult launcher bolted down to the deck of your ship, and they don't make up for it by giving you better torpedoes on the one torpedo mount that you do have, or improved gun performance. So you're just in like a neutered Fletcher when it comes down to doing business with fighting other DDs, and you don't have that great of planes anyway. Like they're rocket planes, yeah, but they're not that great, and there's no heal on them or anything, so they get shot down a lot, and yeah, it's just not a good ship, fellas. Like, yes, it's enticing. Yes, the ship in real life did have a catapult mounted to it, but the Navy in real life realized what a terrible idea this was, and they undid the modifications shortly thereafter. So, yeah, a ship that if I had paid $75 for this, or the amount of coal that they're asking you for today, I would be big sad. I'd be big sad. Which takes us down now to number 1, which is the only, the Tier 8 Premium British Light Cruiser, the Tiger 59. I've spent many a video talking about how much I don't like the Tiger 59, so I won't take up too much of your time here. But yeah, the Tiger 59 has to be one of the most, like, what were they thinking ships in the game. Because yes, it does have a high degree of utility, like so many like to point out. It's got DFAA, radar, and smoke, and all that jazz. That is a nice toolbox to have, but you don't really have the firepower to back it up. Like, it has 4 Minotaur guns. Not 4 turrets, 4 guns. That's it. Yes, they have the same parameters as the Minotaur, but that also includes no HE. So you're stuck there with 4 Minotaur guns, with no HE, with, not like a blazing fast reload time like the, what is the Pan-Euro destroyer that I can't think of that only has the guns? The Friesland, yeah, it's not like, you have a superly fast reload time like the Friesland, or HE to compensate you for only having 4 guns. You don't get any of that. You don't even get torpedoes. So this is a ship that if you just have like decent bow armor, you can just walk straight towards it, and like, yeah, they can chunk your superstructure and whatnot, but they can't dump torpedoes in your face like the Minotaur can, or any of the other British cruisers, so you're just kind of screwed if something with decent armor decides to walk towards you. So, yeah, and I get the argument of, like, you've played in a division, you take ships that complement, its strengths and its weaknesses and stuff. It can be pretty potent, but, like, there's not a lot of other ships in this game that you need a division for your ship to do well in. I think I've gotten like over 100,000 damage in the Tiger 59 on like a handful of times. Most of those times were on stream when I was asked several times to try and do it. But yeah, it's just not a good ship. If they would give it HE, I think it'd be a much better ship, because that way you can at least get some damage over time. You literally can't get any damage over time with the ship. You can't get any flooding damage. It doesn't have any torpedoes. There's no HE, so you're just like trying to pin their superstructure, or hoping something light enough that you can pin walks into view. You're trying to get your shells to land in the enemy ship's extremities, But all in all, yeah, if I had to cough up $52 for this ship, yeah, no, that this is just an abomination, an affront to all mankind. So guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. What ships would you add to this list? What ships would you move from this list? And what are your top 5 premium regrets? What ships do you regret spending your hard-earned cashola on? If you did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 75,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Monday and wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.